Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Moto fam, whatever country you're in. So I'm going to attempt to do a video that I've been wanting to do for a little while. And actually one of the other big moto vloggers did one quite recently that's the exact same topic. So I don't blame you if you just want to go watch his video. I'll put the link down in the doobly-doo. Quality is 1,000 times better than what mine is. I love him. Shady Tree Surgeon, mad shout out, brother. But it's basically why Indian motorcycles suck. Now that was the title of his video. Mine was going to be why I hate Indian motorcycles. And the reason why I hate them is they're not the same Indian motorcycle that came out years ago. So many companies have bought them and tried to put their spin on it, tried to, you know, buy into the heritage of the Indian motorcycle, and they're just bullshit. That's all it is. I can't even begin to explain why they're so bad. But it goes a little bit more personal for that for me. I own a Victory. I love my Victory. You know, I will ride my Victory till its wheels fall off, more than likely. And so when Polaris came out, they started their Victory. And I love the Victory. I'll say it 1,000 times in this. So the Victory's had, you know, some really good sales figures, especially early on. Obviously, they're pretty much trying to directly compete with Harley. Both cruisers, both American, you know, both big CCs. And they ended up buying Indian. And that was alright. It gave them their performance division, being the Victories. And it gave them their classic cruiser range, being the Indians. You know, the full touring bags and tassels and chrome and blah, 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 blah. Chrome and blah, 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 blah. And that was fine for a couple of years. And then the Indian sales, because they do have that logo, the Indian brand, people who used to ride Indians when they were little started buying Indians and blah, blah, blah. And so the Victory sales started to fall. Meanwhile, they were doing crazy things with the Victories, especially in the, you know, the professional circuits. You know, they were doing promotional builds like the world's fastest Victory and things like that, because they brought out the Octane, and the Octane is basically the Scout, and the Scout's an Indian, and that's what Burt Munro was riding. They had a lot of fun with it. But they brought out the Indians, and they, you know, like I said before, full chrome, full tassels, all of that. And so really all they've done is niche themselves into trying to compete with Harley even more than they already were, you know? And it's just, it seems like a silly marketing move. It really does. Anyway, still doing the Victories for a while, and that was great. They brought out the Indian Chieftain Dark Horse. Now, I really like the look of this bike. It's got the nice flowing fenders, and you know, it just looks mean. It looks like a classic motorbike, you know what I mean? And I really like that. And my dad always wanted a Chieftain, just the classic Chieftain. And so it seemed good that, you know, Dad was going to get a Chieftain and I was going to get a Dark Horse. We were going to be on the same bike, but it was going to be different, you know what I mean? And then I got to ride one of the Chieftains. Now, it wasn't a Dark Horse, but it's got the same engine, the Thunder Stroker, or fucking Stroker engine, or whatever the hell it is. It's 111 cubic inches. And it was the laziest 111 cubic inches I have ever seen in my life. I got it for a week. After the Burnout comp, which I came third in, mind you, I'd organised with the Victory dealership in Brisbane to loan me a bike for a week so I could get home after the Burnout. They're like, sweet, yep, no dramas. Anyway, did it, had fun, rode the bike. Now, it was comfortable, don't get me wrong, it was smooth, it was, you know, it had cruise control, all those, you know, creature comforts, but it was so slow. Like, it took forever to get off the mark, it took forever to get up to speed. It was just, it was lazy. Now, I'm not sure if that was because of the windscreen, or maybe the pipes, or maybe, you know, I was just used to more power. I really don't know. But it was lazy. That's you know, it had like something like 120 horsepower or something like that, but these were like the most relaxed 120 horses I've ever seen in my life. Like, I think some of them were actually retarded. And so that pretty much killed the dream of me getting an Indian. I couldn't do it to myself. Maybe if you put like a supercharger on it or something, or You know, it could have just been that it was on demo mode, and the demo mode is bullshit, who knows. But I really hate it. And then they axed Victory. They got rid of the Victories, and I mean, that's, as far as I'm concerned, the silliest thing a company could have done. You know, the young people really liked the Victories. The young people were getting into them, the young people were buying them. You know, and they had a lot of old guys on them as well. You know, they've got the cross-country range and the whatever the other one is, X-Country. And I don't mind the cross-countries in the Victories. And they guaranteed us parts after they axed Victory. They guaranteed us parts for 10 years. Which is nice, but over here in Australia it takes 10 years to get anything anyway, so I'm not sure what good that promise is. I busted a couple of spokes in the rear, probably from jumping roundabouts and shit. And I wanted to get them relaced. Then ordered the spokes, and they wanted $270 for 2 spokes. Now I needed to replace about 16 of them, so that's quite a bit of dosh. And I ended up getting the front and back relaced for $900 from an Australian builder, so that was great. I really enjoyed that. I like supporting the local market. And you know, as the years go on, more stuff's coming out for the Victories. Like, they've got turbo kits for them now, and the supercharger kits. I'd really like to get a supercharger kit for this. But morely back to the Indians. They've got the 1100, not the 1100. They've got the, you know, 111 stroker engine, the Thunderstroke. And it sounds dirty even saying it, as, you know, Shady Tree Surgeon says in his. Yeah, you just feel like you're constantly wanking yourself. Now, I really like the shape of the Indian Scout engine. I don't like that it's only 1200 cc's, just because I can't justify to myself going backwards in power. But I really like the shape of it, you know, it looks nice the way the grooves go in instead of out. The Thunderstroke, however, has the ugliest piece of shit engine I've ever seen in my damn life. Like, oh, it's nasty. But maybe if Indians bring out a performance range, you know, maybe that'll tickle my fancy a little bit more. I noticed in the last year since they axed Victory, they've actually brought out a few Indians that look a lot like the Cross Country. I wonder what that's about. Now, I'm sure Polaris still own all the rights to Victory and shit like that, so, you know, they're free to use whatever the models they want and blah, blah, blah. I'd really like anybody in the bike industry, to bring out a cruiser that's going to challenge the V-Rod. Because the V-Rod will probably be the next cruiser I buy. And for the longest time, it seemed like the Victory Indian market was going to, you know, coexist. And that would have been amazing. But on to bigger and better things. The Victory homebrew sector is coming up pretty good. Now, a lot of people are organising their own parts. We've got, like, on the Victory forums, we've got dudes that make the stand pucks. We've got dudes that make handlebars, exhaust, fenders, blah, 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 blah. And they're making them, you know, for other bikes as well, but they're also making them to fit Victory, so that's really good. Lloyd's said that they're going to keep supporting the Victory market, so that's nice. You know, so we'll be able to order bigger pistons and things like that, so that's great. So, I mean, even if the 10 years goes past on Victory and, you know, everything's all hunky-dory, you know, it's everybody's luck that once those 10 years run out, you know, they won't be, like, one of their pistons will break and they'll need a piston. There will still be options there, so that's great. Apparently I need to get some Fuelola. I'll do it on the way back. Yeah, to sum up why I hate Indians: they're ugly, they caused Victory to shut down, they're lazy, they cost too much, they're not the Indian that we had 50 years ago. That's probably the biggest reason. You know, I hate pretenders. And they're just another Harley competitor. You know, if you want to compete with Harley, you need to do something different, like Victory was. Well, that's all for today, folks. Remember, be chill, be safe, get your butt on a bike. Catch ya!